Welcome everyone to another episode of Billionaire's Beginnings, where we're becoming a billionaire in GTA 5 Online. In today's video, we're going to be making millions of dollars so that we could purchase two things that I really wish we got sooner. So before we get into what those two things are, it's important to first show how we made our money. What was the money grind of this video? Now, in the last video, we purchased a nightclub and a bunch of different passive income businesses so that we could make more money in the background while we grind our active businesses. That cost us over $10 million, and if you're wondering why it's so expensive, make sure to check out that episode. But in this episode, we made sure to set everything up. So of course, first, we had the nightclub going with the 5 technicians, and the technicians were were assigned to cargo and shipments, sporting goods, pharmaceutical research, South American imports, and cash creation. Those are the 5 that are the best to assign your technicians to, and that was earning us $50,000 every single hour, which is incredible. I also made sure to keep the nightclub popularity maxed out so that we were making $250,000 over a 5-hour span. I also made sure to stock up the Coca-Cola lockup, the Blue Stuff lab, the grass farm, and the acid lab so that we could sell on stock that it makes later on with the street dealers. The street dealers is a new great way to cash in on the stock that your acid lab, your nightclub, and your MC businesses make, so it's incredible for solo players. You're essentially doing a faster sell mission by just selling them to the street dealers. You're making a little bit less money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's saving you a ton of time and a ton of effort. And the final thing we did before getting into the active grind was a stash house raid. This is another new addition to the game. You're going to break into a stash house, you're going to steal some supplies, and it's actually going to fully resupply one of our businesses, which is incredible. So for us, we got pretty lucky. We got the Coca-Cola lockup and the acid lab a couple times, so very lucky that we got those, and it's a great way now to make even more money with our passive businesses. And with that being said, it is now time to get into the active grind. Now, we did quite a bit in the active grind, and the first thing we did was a Cayo Perico heist, which made us well over $1 million in about an hour and 15 minutes. Next up, of course, was to do a Dr. Dre contract and mixing in 4 payphone hits while doing so. Now, the first time through the Dr. Dre contract for this episode, I was doing it our regular way, but then I got to the High Society Leak mission, and I was getting frustrated. The homing launcher was taking too long, and I knew there was going to be a easier and faster way to take out the helicopter, and so I did a bit of research, figured it out, and it turns out that if you use a heavy sniper, you shoot the helicopter 8 to 10 times, it will take out the helicopter, which is so much easier than tracking this thing down, shooting it, using a homing launcher, all that kind of stuff, because you can't lock onto it with homing launchers, RPGs, and whatnot. So that really helps. I also did see in the comment section of my guide for the Dr. Dre contract from last week, a lot of people said using stuff like the railgun is another way to do it. So we will try that in future episodes because that may be the easiest way to do it. I think people were saying 3 shots with the railgun works, so that's some good news. Let me know if you in the comment section down below if you guys use that as well. So after learning that, it made everything a lot easier, and that was the new way to go about it. That was mainly the leak that cost me the most amount of time. And then after learning that and figuring that out, it took the leak time from like 25 minutes, maybe closer to 30 minutes, to being able to do the High Society leak in 15 minutes or less, which is a big, huge help in this video. So we ended up doing the Dr. Dre contract, and it took us about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes for this first time through. And in that time, we also made sure to do the 4 payphone hits, which at the time weren't paying out the double or the 1.5 times money when we started. But by the end of it, it was now the new event week. We had double money on the agency plus 1.5 money on the payphone hits. So we were making tons of cash. The payphone hits were paying out $127,000 every single time, which is beautiful. And the Dr. Dre contract was paying out $2 million and still is at the time of recording this video and uploading it. It is paying out $2 million, which is great. So that was a big part of our money grind. And at this point, after a little bit of break and some time off, it was now time to do the second Cayo Perico heist, which we did in the exact same way. I'm trying to make this as efficient as possible, keep it as quick as possible. And so the Cayo Perico heist once again took about an hour, hour and 15 minutes, and we made well over $1 million once again. Now you're probably seeing a theme here where I'm going through Cayo Perico heist, Dr. Dre Contract, Payphone hits, rotating through. If you haven't seen it already, I did upload a video on how to make $5 million a day. That's essentially the method. Mix that with passive income businesses, and that's how you make your money. So of course, the next thing I did was a Dr. Dre contract. But once we had completed this contract and some more Payphone hits, it was now time to purchase the first thing that, this is something I wish I bought episodes ago. And I knew it was going to be a good purchase, and I was intentionally waiting to buy it. But after buying it, I gotta say I do miss it because I did have this on my other account. It of course is the Oppressor Mark II. Now first, I bought a terabyte. It goes for about $1.4 million. And I initially thought if I do get the terabyte and then I do some of these contract jobs, I'll be able to get the Oppressor for its trade price. But these jobs are so they take forever. Like, I got into the first one maybe 30 seconds in, I just rage quit, moved on, said screw it. I can make more than $1 million, which is what I would be saving on the Oppressor in less time than it takes me to do these jobs. So I completely abandoned that idea and I paid the extra $1 million to get the Oppressor. Now some of you may be wondering, why did I make sure to get the terabyte before getting the Oppressor? And that is because I'm able to customize the Oppressor now, purchase a speed boost, and most importantly, purchase homing missiles, which is exactly what we did. We spent all our money on buying the terabyte, buying the Oppressor, and then buying the upgrades that we needed for it. This makes this vehicle the ultimate solo grind machine, the ultimate solo grind vehicle. So this thing is going to shave off a ton of time on all the missions that we do, any traveling that we do around the map, and it's going to make our 1v AI combat a lot easier. So with that purchase, it was now time to put it to good use. And of course, the first thing we did once again was a Cayo Perico heist. Yes, I was grinding this heist pretty hard, but this time it was a lot easier because we had the Oppressor. So our normal Cayo Perico heist before the Oppressor was at the very fastest 1 hour. Sometimes an hour and 15 minutes, sometimes if I was going really slow, closer to an hour and 30. Now with the Oppressor, I think we did it in just over 50 minutes, which when you do the Cayo Perico heist as much as we do, that shaves off a lot of time. So if you're in this position, you have the money to buy one and you haven't already, and you're maybe thinking about getting one, I highly suggest doing so. And of course, after doing the Cayo Perico heist, we made sure to do Payphone hits and the Dr. Dre contract. And this is where the Oppressor really started to help out. So before getting the Oppressor, the Dr. Dre contract took, I would say on average, probably an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and 45 minutes, maybe even closer to an hour and 45 minutes. Now, after having the Oppressor, this thing takes maybe an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 30 tops, which is incredible. Like I said, we're doing a ton of these and we're going to continue to do more because they're currently paying out double money. So it's a great way to make money right now. And that is going to save us a lot of time in the long run. The second thing, of course, was doing the Payphone hits with the Oppressor, which is so much faster. Where the Payphone hits before may have been 5-10 minutes, simply based on the fact that we had to travel everywhere on the map. Now with the Oppressor, they're all like 2 to 5 minutes maybe. So once again, saves us tons of time, and it's a real big help, and it's so vital for the solo players to have. So once we had done the Cayo Perico heist, the Dr. Dre contract, it was now time to make our next purchase. And this one quite possibly could be one of the most important in the entire series. Maybe not as important as the Oppressor, but something that's really going to help us out. And that was to purchase the arcade business. Now the first time I bought it, I went for the cheapest one way up in Paleto Bay. Please avoid this at all costs. I got to the setup mission, realized I had to drive like 7 miles, and once again I rage quit. That was a horrible decision by me, completely on me. I thought location didn't matter. I was wrong. After thinking on it for a little bit, I realized getting an arcade in the city made a lot more sense. So I actually did another Dr. Dre contract, made $2 million, came back and bought the new arcade in the city. So we lost out on about $500,000. So mistake from me, learn from my mistakes, but we got an arcade. And the reason why we got the arcade was because we needed to get a master control terminal. This is a piece of equipment that allows us to control almost all of our businesses remotely from one location. That means we can start supply missions, we can restock, we can start sell missions all from one place, which is insane. So when we are doing our passive money grind, this is going to be a massive help, because all we have to do is just sit down in this chair and go through and resupply all of our businesses. We no longer have to spawn to them. We no longer have to travel to them. This makes things so much easier. So going forward, the simplest route is literally going to be go to my arcade, go to the master control terminal, go resupply all the MC businesses that we need to, call MUT, resupply the acid lab, and then at the very end of each of our grinds, sell on our stock to the street dealers. This is very close to the passive money grind of a nightclub. Like, this is getting very close, right? One simple way to resupply and then one simple way to sell. I'm just saying, if you guys haven't considered this yet, I highly suggest adding this into your money grind, because this could be a game changer. This is a few $100,000 every day that we could be making with practically zero effort. And that there was the two things that we ended up purchasing in this video. It cost us about, $7-8 million, but they are very, very important, especially for a solo money grind. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are some things that you've purchased that you found have been critical to your solo money grind in GTA 5 Online. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.